If you're a senior dreaming of hitting the road in 2026, this might be the moment you've been waiting for. Prices are finally shifting, and the vans built for comfort, mobility, and low-maintenance travel are dropping into the affordable zone for the first time in years. Why? Because the market cracked. Inventories stacked up. Shipments piled in at the worst possible time. And dealers, the same ones who held firm at sky-high prices last year, are now quietly trimming numbers just to clear space. For seniors, this is the rare chance to get a dependable campervan without sacrificing your retirement budget. But only 12 models truly hit that sweet spot. Let's break down exactly which ones made the cut and why. Coachmen Beyond 22 RB. Sometimes a single vehicle reveals more about dealership pressure than any memo ever could. And the Coachmen Beyond 22 RB does exactly that. Its slide into affordable territory did not come from generosity. It came from shorter Ford Transit delivery times, too many identical units arriving at once, and lots carrying floor plan debt longer than they expected. Listings across central states show units that once sat in the mid 140,000 range, now reduced into the low 120,000 bracket. That shift signals holding costs finally overrunning optimism. This model earns attention because of one practical feature: a full-width rear bathroom. That layout removes the need to jump to a larger Class C or oversized RV later, cutting insurance brackets, fuel demand, and long-term repair exposure. The depreciation math becomes steadier because the layout reduces future spending. Lot photos from winter tell the story clearly. Several units carry aged stock notes and sit beyond the usual 90-day comfort zone. That is the real indicator. Not banners, not hype. When a dealer lowers a number quietly, it means they want the balance sheet cleared before the next shipment arrives. The Coachmen Beyond 22 RB now sits in an unusually solid cost-to-benefit spot. It offers space where it matters, systems that stay predictable, and pricing shaped by timing rather than pressure. The next model carries a different kind of discount logic, shaped by simplicity rather than inventory weight. The moment you step past this model's strengths, another contender waits with a completely different strategy for staying affordable. Pleasureway Tofino. There are moments when a price shift tells you more about a market than any analyst report, and the Pleasureway Tofino is one of those signals. Its recent drop did not happen by accident. It emerged from softened interest in pop-top builds, slower fall traffic, and a set of dealership lots now holding units well past their preferred turnover window. When a model that once hovered near the mid-80,000 bracket begins settling toward the upper 70 range in real listings, that is not promotion. That is pressure finally showing itself. The Tofino earns attention because it removes clutter. It keeps systems simple, mechanical, and familiar, the kind that stay repairable in small shops rather than demanding specialized technicians. That simplicity has value. A minimal electrical load means fewer failures. A straightforward layout means no hidden panels waiting to surprise you later. Over time, those practical details can save more than any flashier option with layered electronics. Recent dealer photos show units carrying aged inventory tags with over 120 days on site, a number that quietly reveals more than any advertisement. When a pop-top remains on the lot that long, managers take the hint and pricing adjusts downward to clear space before new shipments arrive. The good news is that this timing creates opportunity for anyone who values durability instead of ornament. The Pleasureway Tofino stands in a narrow lane, compact, dependable, and now priced closer to what it should have been all along. It offers a nimble footprint without the long-term costs tied to heavier rigs. As that compact build makes its quiet exit, a larger story begins to unfold with a van shaped by sheer production weight. Before we continue the list, take a moment to like this video, subscribe for more breakdowns like this, and share your thoughts below. Your input helps guide future research and keeps these market explanations honest, clear, and grounded in real conditions. Winnebago Solis Pocket 36A. Market shifts often reveal themselves through the quieter models first, and the Winnebago Solis Pocket 36A is a perfect example. Its pricing movement did not begin with promotional banners. It began when overproduction met slowing demand, and units started stacking up across regional lots. When a vehicle that once held firm near 128,000 slips toward the mid-90 bracket, the story is not generosity. It is simple math. colliding with storage pressure and floor plan timelines dealers can no longer stretch. The Pocket 36A earns attention because its design is efficient in ways that protect long-term spending. The lounge converts into multiple functions without complex hardware. The rear storage bay acts like a garage for essential gear, sparing the need for roof racks, cargo boxes, or other add-ons that drain budgets. Every component feels deliberate, giving the model an edge when reliability matters more than styling. Those listing patterns confirm real pressure building beneath the surface of this segment today overall. Recent listings across national platforms show clusters of identical units with more than 90 days on site. Dealers are bending before carrying costs deepen, and those adjustments appear directly in the posted numbers. The Winnebago Solis Pocket 36A now sits in a narrow but meaningful price window, offering strong practicality at a level more aligned with its true market position. From that point forward, the spotlight shifts to a model influenced by internal competition rather than raw volume. Thor Sequence 20A. Market pressure often shows itself through subtle shifts, and the Thor Sequence 20A is a clear example of that pattern. Its downward movement began when overlapping layouts inside the same manufacturer created a bottleneck on dealer lots. Once two similar vans competed for the same buyer, inventory slowed and prices eased. A model that once sat near $130,000 began landing in the upper 90 range, reflecting a correction driven by necessity rather than seasonal promotion. The Sequence 20A stands out because its interior avoids fragile complexity. The twin beds connect without elaborate hardware. The galley relies on dependable components that most service shops understand. The electrical system stays straightforward, avoiding hidden modules that inflate long-term repair bills in many other RV designs. Everything feels focused on steady use instead of spectacle, and that approach becomes more valuable as ownership years accumulate. Proof of the shift appears in listings showing units held past 120 days, some marked with quiet notes like pricing under review. Those small signals reveal the real reason numbers softened. Dealers want turnover, and when a van stays too long, adjustments follow. Further down this road, a wider aisle and a different manufacturing storyline begin shaping the value that follows. Jayco Swift 20A. What pushes certain models into new price territory often begins far from the showroom, and the Jayco Swift 20A is a clear reflection of that reality. Its shift downward started when corporate attention moved heavily toward travel trailer production, leaving Class B RV units with less marketing support and longer lot times. Once several Swift 20A vans sat past the 90-day mark, numbers softened, and the upper 90 to low 100 bracket became common across regional listings. The Swift 20A earns its position because its interior stays practical and familiar. The controls use direct switches rather than layered screens. The galley operates with components most technicians recognize. Storage access stays open and reachable without complex folding mechanisms. Every part of the layout works in a way that avoids extra spending years down the road. That predictability becomes meaningful when long-term repair math matters more than optional features. Visible proof appears in late-season markdown sheets out of Texas, where multiple Swift 20A units show the same downward adjustment after extended hold times. Notes like slow movement reveal the underlying pressure. When dealers tag inventory with those phrases, pricing rarely stays still. Right now, the Jayco Swift 20A stands at a point where cost aligns more closely with actual demand. It offers steady systems, straightforward serviceability, and a layout built for ease rather than novelty. After this practical layout shows its advantage, another model steps forward to demonstrate how popularity creates its own pricing ripple. Roadtrek Zion. There are times when a shifting market exposes itself through the most practical models first, and the Roadtrek Zion fits that pattern perfectly. Its pricing movement did not erupt overnight. It built slowly as dealerships across several regions took on more units than their updated allocation systems could comfortably support. Once a handful of Zion vans remained on lots beyond the 120-day threshold, pressure began tightening. Asking numbers that once hovered near 130,000 eased downward toward the lower 110 bracket, revealing where real demand settled, rather than where managers hoped it would land. The Zion earns its place because of a layout that stays open walkable and dependable without depending on retractable hardware or layered electronics. The central aisle runs uninterrupted from the cockpit to the rear lounge, giving straightforward access for loading gear, maintaining components, and moving around without strain. The electrical system, plumbing arrangement, and cabinetry remain serviceable for ordinary technicians, keeping long-term repair exposure lower than many similar RV designs that hide crucial parts behind decorative panels. Evidence quietly appears in listings showing consistent reductions across multiple regions, with several units held past the 100-day mark before prices shifted downward. That pattern signals a broad correction, rather than a single lot adjustment. Right now, the Roadtrek Zion occupies a grounded value position, shaped by timing, straightforward engineering, and real demand. It offers steady function, practical space, and a pricing window aligned with actual conditions. After this practical layout shows its advantage, another model steps forward to demonstrate how popularity creates its own pricing ripple. Winnebago Solis 59P. Momentum in this market sometimes shifts, not because a model failed, but because it succeeded a little too well. And the Winnebago Solis 59P is a clear reflection of that pattern. Demand surged earlier, orders stacked up, and when production finally caught its rhythm, dealerships found themselves holding more units than their turnover schedules could handle. That imbalance pushed asking numbers from the mid-120 range down toward the 105 to 112 bracket, revealing where true buyer interest settled once the initial rush faded. What gives the Solis 59P its staying power is the way its systems are built for steady use rather than spectacle. The layout avoids hidden modules, keeps plumbing routes direct, and relies on components serviceable in almost any shop familiar with RV systems. The low bed platform remains reachable without elaborate lifts or adjustable frames. The galley sits organized and compact, offering the essentials without stacking fragile mechanisms into tight corners. In the long run, those choices reduce maintenance exposure and trim unnecessary spending. Listings across southern and western regions show the same pattern. Multiple Solis 59P units held beyond 90 days, each marked with subtle reductions, followed by final adjustments to move inventory before the next shipment arrives. Those quiet price shifts speak louder than any promotional campaign. As those numbers settle into place, the conversation shifts to a van, influenced by changes far higher in the decision chain. Thor Tellaro 20A. Shifts in this market often begin with decisions made far above the showroom floor, and the Thor Tellaro 20A shows exactly how those decisions ripple downward. When priority moved toward diesel-based Class B builds, gas-powered ProMaster units like the Tellaro 20AA quietly lost corporate momentum. That change left dealerships holding more vans than their turnover cycles preferred. Once, several sat beyond the 100-day mark. Numbers softened, and asking prices that once edged near $130,000 began landing closer to the upper 90 range. That adjustment was not framed as a promotion. It was a correction driven by inventory strain. The Tellaro 20A stands apart because it avoids the fragile add-ons that inflate long-term costs. The sleeping system converts without electric motors. The plumbing stays accessible rather than buried behind decorative layers. The electrical components rely on parts that most technicians servicing RV systems already understand. That kind of practicality matters over time because it keeps ownership from drifting into expense territory no one planned for. Listings across western and southwestern regions show the clearest proof. Multiple units carry small notes like extended hold, a phrase that usually means managers want the balance sheet cleared before the next shipment arrives. When those internal signals appear consistently, pricing almost always follows the same downward path. Once that shift reveals its true impact, a related platform steps in to show how overlap can redirect the entire price curve. If you value detailed market breakdowns without hype or shortcuts, make sure you subscribe. Every update focuses on timing, pricing, and real-world evidence, helping you stay ahead of the shifts that matter most before they reach the dealership floor. Entegra Ethos 20A. Price movement can sometimes be traced back to overlap, and the Entegra Ethos 20A is a direct example of how shared platforms create unexpected pressure. When two models built on the same chassis and aimed at the same segment arrive in similar quantities, one inevitably slows first. In this case, the Ethos 20A began accumulating more units than planned across several coastal and mid-southern regions. Once multiple vans crossed the 120-day mark, the adjustments followed. Asking figures that once pressed crest toward 125,000 eased into the upper 90 range, revealing where genuine demand chose to settle. What gives the Ethos 20A its staying power is the measured way it handles interior finishes. Surfaces feel softer without being delicate. The cabinetry holds firm but avoids unnecessary weight. The seating remains comfortable without depending on elaborate support structures that often complicate long-term upkeep. Serviceability stays within reach for technicians familiar with standard RV systems, reducing future repair surprises that quietly drain budgets. Recent listing histories show repeated downward nudges across several Entegra-affiliated dealers. Notes like "inventory cycle extension" appear next to units held longer than anticipated, signaling the need to reset numbers before incoming shipments arrive. Those small remarks, rarely noticed unless you read closely, reveal more about the market than any banner or narrated promotion. From here, a different kind of efficiency takes center stage, shaped not by overlap, but by real-world travel economics. Winnebago Travato 59K. Few models demonstrate the shifting balance between true demand and dealer optimism as clearly as the Winnebago Travato 59K, its price. Movement began when a wave of used units entered the market. At the same time, new inventory arrived earlier than expected. Listings that once hovered around 150,000 started appearing closer to the 120 bracket, revealing a correction driven by availability rather than promotion. That shift is important because it shows how fast numbers change when retail supply outpaces seasonal interest. The Travato 59K earns attention for reasons beyond pricing. Its design focuses on efficiency that translates directly into long-term cost control. The rear bathroom spans the full width, freeing the interior from complex slide systems. The twin bed arrangement stays accessible without electric lifts, reducing failure points that accumulate over years of ownership. Fuel use sits in a range that often touches 18 to 21 miles per gallon, a figure that matters when long trips stack up across a decade. Evidence appears in nationwide postings showing several units held beyond 90 days before receiving measured reductions. Dealer notes use phrases like cycle adjustment, a subtle recognition that demand has normalized. Those signals, while quiet, mark real opportunities for anyone tracking timing windows rather than advertising promises. As the road opens wider, attention turns to a rig built on modern capability, blended with simplified operation. Storyteller Overland Mode LT. Some models rise or fall on hype. Storyteller Overland Mode LT shifted for a different reason entirely. When the all-wheel drive Ford Transit finally reached steady delivery levels, the scarcity premium that pushed prices upward during the previous cycle disappeared almost overnight. Dealers who once held firm near the 190,000 mark began posting numbers closer to the 170 bracket. That adjustment was not framed as celebration. It was simple equilibrium, returning after nearly 2 years of unpredictable supply. The Mode LT earns its place because its entire design philosophy centers on durability without complication. The energy system relies on a generator-free platform, removing one of the most failure-prone components found in traditional RV builds. The interior uses materials chosen for longevity rather than decoration. Storage stays functional and open, eliminating the hidden cavities where wear and moisture quietly accumulate. Over the long term, those choices reduce the chances of unexpected repair bills that often catch owners off guard. Clear evidence appears in multi-state listings showing synchronized reductions across several Storyteller-affiliated dealers. Notes such as market realignment accompany units held beyond 60 days, indicating that the earlier peak has stabilized. When multiple regions display the same pattern at the same time, it signals a genuine shift, rather than a localized promotion. Once that picture comes into focus, the final model steps forward, a van whose timing and design placed it exactly where affordability meets real utility. Winnebago Solis 59PX. Some models reach a value point by accident, but the Winnebago Solis 59PX arrived there through a chain of decisions that reshaped its entire market position. Dealers leaned heavily into orders for the extended rear garage version, expecting demand to mirror the shorter P layout. Instead, interest shifted toward lighter builds, leaving more PX vans on lots than managers planned for. Once several units crossed the 100-day threshold, pricing eased downward, dropping from the 120 range into the 110 bracket, revealing a truer reflection of real-world interest. The Solis 59PX stands out because its rear storage bay changes the economics of ownership. The garage eliminates the need for rooftop carriers, external racks, and aftermarket boxes that often cost hundreds or even thousands over time. The interior layout remains practical, with systems arranged for straightforward service by technicians familiar with RV configurations. Nothing feels hidden. Nothing depends on delicate components that fail at inconvenient moments. It is a build designed to carry weight, protect equipment, and keep long-term spending under control. Listings across multiple regions show PX units marked as overstock incentives, revealing space pressure from shipments. Together, these patterns confirm affordability, follows inventory strain and practical design, not brochure promises. If this breakdown helped you spot real deals before the rush, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss the next market shift. And drop a comment below which campervan caught your eye and what features matter most for your travels in 2026. Your feedback shapes every new video and helps this community stay ahead of the dealers, the trends, and the real numbers.